Hey, it's Pete with the Small Business Resource Center and the Small Business Resource Center YouTube channel. I just wanted to make an update video 2 years ago, right around COVID time. I was planning on making videos on market crash. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I didn't make those videos because of the fact that I really felt the market wasn't going to crash when I saw all the stimulus and all the things that were being done by the government to prevent that. And of course, it didn't really crash. We had a dip and completely recovered, and stock markets went to highs. So when we're looking at that, I had stated that I have strategies to fight stock market crashes and to help make money during a crash. And a lot of times people have been asking me about making the video. I didn't make it. And I do follow a lot of different economists. So when I did make it, the reason why is because I felt the stock market was not going to crash and there was no chance, despite the fact of many economists that I follow saying that it's going to happen. But you know, if you tell people something's going to happen every 3 months, eventually you're going to be right. Just like that old clock. People say a broken clock is right at least 2 times a day. So, and why? Because you keep telling people it's going to happen soon. So, it's not the fact that I think the stock market's going to crash today, but do I think there's a very increased chance that it could happen in the next couple months, as well as the economy having financial difficulties. I know a lot of people are having problems now. So I'm going to go into my opinion based on research and also what to do if there is a stock market crash or financial collapse. So things that are causing this right now. The Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates. In my opinion, it's completely crazy. Why would you raise interest rates when things are going well? They're saying to slow down inflation. You know, let's look at that right there. What's causing inflation? Well, if you're having any type of problem, oil and gas companies seem like they have problems, and every time there's a problem, they raise rates to an astronomical amount, and people are saying, hey, they'll make a small percentage. Well, every time they have any type of problem, they tend to have record billions of dollars in profits. So how do you equate, I have to raise my prices and now I'm making billions of record profits? Doesn't really make sense. Something tells me you didn't have to raise your prices. Or if you did need to raise them, you didn't have to raise them as much as you're saying, because that's financially hurting the people. In my opinion, the government needs to take control of stuff like this, like in Pennsylvania, and I think across the globe, or United States, I should say, maybe even the globe, where they used to have fixed utility prices, and now that they had free energy choice, consumers are just getting ripped off. We're just paying a lot more for the same service. Now, I understand all services are not the same, but when it comes to services people need to live, people can't do without, like electric, gas. There has to be some regulations. I would have to say water too. When you're looking at other countries who privatize water and then companies start raising rates so high that normal people actually can't afford water. In some countries, they were drinking soda because you can't buy water. You can't afford it. And soda's made primarily out of a lot of water. There's a bunch of chemicals and other stuff, but keep in mind, that's the ludicrousy of this type of thing. These things should be regulated, by the way. The other thing is when you're raising interest rates, you're causing so many problems. You're not really stifling inflation. You're causing people financial problems. The rates for everything's going up. People's purchasing power, when the rates are high, it goes down. The money that people have saved is disappearing because they have to pay to live. This is just common sense here. I don't understand why we have these problems. And I saw a YouTube video a while back when COVID was going on, and a wood supplier said once COVID hit, they were in financial difficulties. They got money for COVID. Of course, there's a demand for their product, and the prices started going up. So then they said, well, why should I get back into full production if I can produce less and make twice as much, why would I want to go back into full production? Do you understand? Any smart business person would probably want to do the same thing, but the problem that it's creating is hurting all the consumers. So a lot of these things are really things that could be fixed and things that need to be fixed. And the government, in my opinion, it's their job to fix these, but our government's full of idiots. So, give away money to all these people who don't need it and all these companies that don't need it, but don't give any money to the actual people and burn the people and tax the people like crazy. So these are things that I think are causing and can be a cause of the next financial collapse. But whatever you want to say is a start, who knows? 3 major food processing plants caught fire, got destroyed within a week's time. This happened a couple weeks ago, about a month ago. I mean, we're still not seeing the full effects of all that, even though there's some baby formula shortage. But when these things are happening, it's like, this is such a coincidence. Is it really a coincidence? These are things that we all should ask ourselves. So what I would suggest is to try to be prepared when anything like this happens. And, you may have heard these similar things before, but if it comes to paying $200, $300, $400 for 30-day supply of shelf-stable type emergency food, would that be worth it if there is a serious problem later? Not here to promote any brands or anything like that. You could probably just do your own research and find something. But in my opinion, it makes sense. Would it make sense now to just get a little bit of extra toilet paper or bottled waters and stuff like that you might use, or things that if they go up, you're going to have to buy them? So you won't have problems in the near future if something does happen. Because in my opinion, in the next month or two, we could have issues starting. By the end of the year, it's a much stronger possibility. After that, it's hard to tell, because most of the things that people are talking about aren't forecast that far ahead. But the Federal Reserve is continually planning to raise interest rates. That's going to have effect on the housing market. It's going to have effect on the auto industry. If you're saying that's stopping inflation, I don't believe so. It's hurting people that need to buy. And, when COVID happened, our state, the geniuses in Pennsylvania decided real estate is non-essential. Do you realize that so many times people do have to buy or sell real estate? They don't have a choice. Some people, it's a financial decision. Some people are moving because of jobs. Some people have familial change, either moving up or moving down. It happens all the time. And if you're saying they don't have to, I guess if somebody's moving down, they don't have to. But it's a personal choice of saying, hey, look, I'm in this big house. I don't need it. It costs me too much. So now I'm going to sell it and buy something smaller. If you're moving up, well, a lot of people have kids or what have you, or get married and say, well, now we need a bigger house. So when these things are necessary, to say you're fixing the economy by raising interest rates is, in my opinion, very, very stupid. And should I say they were low and they're great? Yeah. But when you're making these changes when inflation is high, you're just hurting people financially. So it doesn't make sense. And if businesses have to pay more to borrow money, do you think they're going to jump up and down and borrow more money? No, it just doesn't happen. The cost to build, when that's high, do people keep building? No, they're going to wait. So I'm not saying there's no development. I'm saying that things could be better all the way around. There's a need for housing. It seems like there's a shortage, and raising interest rates is not helping. So as far as the strategies, it's very important to be prepared no matter what. And the amount of money you're spending now is probably so small to be prepared for things that could be important. The other financial strategies, of course, if you have your money in any type of stock trading accounts, is to watch. As soon as there's an issue, probably a good idea to pull your money and put it into cash. I know some people have 401ks, they can only withdraw a certain time. Maybe with the times there are now, you want to, if you're in an aggressive fund, change it to something that's less aggressive, so when it drops, it won't drop as much as quick. And then in the future, If it looks like it's getting better, switch to something more aggressive. If it's getting worse, just go to cash, and that would be the best thing to do. Generally, when there's a financial collapse, nearly every stock goes down. A lot of them go down big time. Sometimes companies go out of business. I know last time there was a financial collapse, they were talking about saving all the banks. I put my money in a couple different banks, but some of them were smaller mortgage companies like Countrywide, and those companies did not get saved. So if you're looking at that, it's important to recognize that. And if you're saying, now that this is over, I think the worst is over, where should I put my money? Make sure the company that you're putting your money in, too, is not a company that can actually go broke or not be saved if there's something that goes that bad. Unfortunately, the government tends to always save companies like Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Chase Bank. They'll save all these companies, give them tons of money, then they'll just invest the money. And they probably didn't need it in the first place, but whatever. That's how the government works. Not going to help you, but they'll help these big companies. So when we're looking at this, once there's a financial collapse, what type of strategies can we use? I'm going to show you, because most of the times all stocks go down drastically. Some can go down 10, 20, 50%, 80%, 90%. Of course, they can go bankrupt. So this video is going to show you one stock that I know of that always is going to outperform the market during a crash. Check it out. So here's the stock, ProShares short Dow 30. Now, basically, this is shorting the Dow. So if you're looking at this, and we do a year to date, this is up 9.28%. And for the year to date, this is 10.84%. This is the Dow Jones Industrial. As you can see, it's almost an exact mirror of the opposite. So if they're shorting, it should be pretty close to the opposite, which is kind of good. The reason why it's kind of good is you're not really in this for the long term. So I'm going to show you this again. If you think that the market's going to crash, you buy, boom, it makes a jump, then you get out when the market starts turning. So this is not something you want to be in long term. Perhaps if you like the Dow Jones Industrial, once you make your money on shorting it, you just buy back in and then stay in for the long term. But when you're looking at this year to date, 51%, okay, it lost, of course, because the economy was doing good supposedly, and this went up 54%. So when you're making a play, keep in mind what I'm saying. This is not a long-term play. This is a what do I do if the stock market crashes play. You buy, it goes up, like it could peak here at 58, then you sell, or 58, 59, 60, 68, and that's when you dump it. And you can see the correlation here. That's what happened here. It started crashing, and then you dump it, buy whatever you want after that. But keep in mind, you're at a scenario that if you're from here, this point to that point, you're doing pretty well, from here to here. You might be able to get 100% profit in a very short amount of time. Depends on what the market's doing. But it's very, very simple. Have your money ready, whatever type of trading account you have. If you're in a regular account that you can control, it's easier. Make the trade. If you're in cash, buy the stock, DOG, and then when it peaks, just sell it. Very simple. Well, anyways, there you go. All right, so this is Pete, and that's the strategy in the stock. Comment below. Let me know what you think. I'd like to know what you think about if there's going to be a market crash in the next couple months, next year, never. Everything's going to be fine. Anyways, I like to hear from you and what type of videos you'd like. I probably am going to start making more, at least maybe once a week. That would be great, because I was doing them daily, and I actually like doing them. They just take a lot of time. and my full-time occupation's realtor. I actually do have my new book coming out, How to Sell Real Estate, should be out this month, and my new coaching program, Real Estate Advisors Coaching. I'm going to put a link below to my book because there's this very special offer that's going to be coming. You might have to come back because the offer is not available right now, but it will be available as soon as my book is ready to launch. Have a great day. Nice seeing you.